out past these sailboats here on the starboard side. All that land over there is called South Boston. It used to be South Bay. It's all man-made land. Now just to the right of those buildings you see a low rusty iron bridge. Just where that blue and white vessel is sailing. Through there is Griffin's Wharf. Griffin's Wharf in 1773. A group of Bostonians disguised as Native Americans boarded 3 Nantucket merchant ships. So 92,000 pounds of tea into the harbour. And they did this as a protest as the British were taxing them for doing trade with other countries. That protest was known as no taxation without representation. Look at what we're going on today. It's the Boston Tea Party. The first building left, the Renwick building, is Joseph Mowbray, Federal Courthouse. And the weather's not great, but it's not bad. Yesterday was worse. Complete fog here yesterday. Actually, we came out yesterday about 50 feet into the harbour and completely enveloped by fog, and we didn't know which direction we were looking. So the passengers would just believe what I told them. Coming across the harbour here, towards the left, you'll see the Boston Harbour Hotel. It has a distinctive archway. And that archway is meant to convey a welcome to all mariners into Boston. Boston Harbour Hotel stands in fact on Rose Wharf at Johnson Road. Used to run a shipping business there in the late 1700s. He was in fact one of the instigators of the Tea Party protest. And these buildings left of the courthouse here, they're all standing in the Seaport District, this is called in Boston. Lots of reconstruction, redevelopment. I'd be interested in this construction site, this building here with a blue netting. Creating a condominium tower. But at the end of last summer, they're working on the foundations. They had to stop work because they found a ship buried under the foundations. It turned out to be a complete 50-foot schooner from the 1800s. Actually, not dissimilar from that white vessel that's docked there. Those carrying cargo are nothing exciting, they're all skeletons. They did excavate it, and a gentleman now in Charlestown works with them, making furniture on the hull of this 1800 schooner. This glass building here with the 4th floor coming out over the harbour is the ICA. That's the Institute of Contemporary Arts. Those 4 exhibits of modern art here. It is in fact the second most visited museum in Boston, second to the Museum of Fine Arts. Again, if you're inside, you're welcome to come out on the top deck. We have a nice refreshing damp. Commonwealth Pier is the building with all the flags on the top. Commonwealth today is home to Boston's World Trade Center. 3 years ago, Commonwealth Pier was a docking pier. The cargo ships were docked here. Then in later years, the transatlantic steamships were docked at Commonwealth Pier. In fact, right at the front of here is an oval sketch of a 3-funnel vessel. And that'll be the Queen Mary steamship from England used to dock here at Commonwealth Pier when it visited Boston. There is no modern cruise ship terminal just a bit further out in the outer harbour. Fishing was important to the colonists in the 1600s. And that's an industry that's still maintained right through today. The South Boston Fish Pier here built in 100 years ago in 1914. Those fishing boats there, they go out 150 miles offshore. George's Banks, which is the richest fishing ground in the world. And just to the left, a long white building. On the other side of that is the Mark Falcon cruise ship terminal. Some people from the seas on board here today. I've just spoken to a captain. That boat is leaving in 20 minutes. That long white building itself was built in 1910. It is built as the South Boston Army Base. acres of land. That's since become about 8 acres of India. Just passing it, this vessel is an oil barge. In fact, you see a lot of oil barges all the time come in at the port there. The deep harbour, and they come all the way in. Foreign oil today being Boston's largest import. A Logan Airport was opened in 1923. It was called Commonwealth Airport. It changed the name in 1956 after General Edward Rawlinson opened it. You also see the Hyatt Regency Hotel. It has a lighthouse type structure on the end. And that was designed to celebrate the lighthouses of Massachusetts Bay. Except when they opened it in 1993, they found they designed it a bit too well. The light at the top was very bright and it confused many ships' captains who actually used it as a navigation point, without realizing it's only an elevated shaft. In this part of the harbour, east of Boston, was a very busy immigration point. 1,890 members who were emigrated to America by ship. 150,000 immigrants entered Boston. It was in fact the second busiest immigration point to Ellis Island, New York. And then in the 1840s there was a great influx of Irish immigrants because of the potato famine, the devastation in Ireland. And the Irish came seeking new life. Except when they got here, they found it not that welcome. Because when they were looking for jobs, they see signs in windows that said NINA, N-I-N-A, no Irish need apply. Well, unfortunately that's changed. Boston now quite an Irish town. In passing this, the red vessel, as you can see, is called Nantucket. This is a Nantucket lightship, one of 3 that were anchored around the island of Nantucket, south of Cape Cod. They couldn't build a lighthouse on Nantucket because the shoals there run 90 miles out to sea. So in effect, these were floating lighthouses. But that particular vessel is a replacement for her predecessor, which in 1934 was rammed and sunk by the sister ship of the Titanic, the RMS Olympic. This part of the harbour these days mostly working boats, because apart from the cruise ship terminal, they also built a container terminal further out in the outer harbour. We're coming up on Pierce Park. This is a park built on a wharf to celebrate what were once all the busy wharves and piers of this part of the dockland. And that space rocket-like monument is a monument to Donald McKay, who was once a master shipbuilder of these parts. The pier these days used mostly in the summer. At weekends, because of its location and views across the harbour, is used as a photo backdrop for weddings and other sad occasions. Now this disused pier is where the cargo ships used to dock before they built the container terminal. In fact, the rail tracks are still on the pier. Now apparently it would cost an awful lot of money to dismantle this, so they decided to let it disintegrate naturally. The only problem is they forgot. Now, when a wooden pier disintegrates, it doesn't sink, it floats. And that causes some problems, not so much for us, but a lot of sailboats in the harbour. They come across these unexpectedly large pieces of timber occasionally. And this pier not so long ago was full of grain elevators and warehouses. The construction they do around the piers these days tends to be residential or commercial. Now in front of these 2 buildings where it says luxury rentals, you see a ramp come down to the water and some pilings. Well, this was the site of the old Penny Ferry landing. Penny Ferry here was the oldest, most continuous running ferry service in the United States. You take the citizens of East Boston into the city itself. Actually, all the immigrants come off those ships. Walk around here, be taken into Boston on the Penny Ferry. And it sailed every day from 1632 to 1951. It charged a penny for over 300 years. When in business in 1951 was roads and bridges, made Boston more accessible. Now this construction site here, this once was a shipyard. There's a remaining concrete blocks in the front there. This was the shipyard of Donald Mackay. In the 1800s, it's built clipper ships here, which were the fastest sailing vessels afloat. In fact, it's called a clipper ship wharf. Now, those of you who've been on the Boston subway system and have noticed the different colour lines. The blue line, which goes from downtown past the aquarium and out along the North Shore, goes directly under where we are now, which is why it's called the blue line, because of the water connection. In fact, all the lines have reasonable colours. The red line goes to Cambridge, where sits Harvard University, and the school colours are crimson. While the green line goes under Boston Public Gardens and Boston Common. The orange line is to go to Orange Street, and they changed the name to Washington Street. Now there are two rivers that flow into the harbour here, and one is the Mystic River. The mouth of the Mystic comes in underneath this long green iron bridge. Well, perhaps you can't see it's green, you have to take my word for it. But the Mystic Tobin Bridge, Morris Tobin, the governor of Massachusetts, when they built the bridge in the late 1940s, it's 2 miles long, the longest bridge in New England. But most of it goes over land rather than water. Just to the left of the bridge, you might see that nice sail vessel there, three-masted. Came into port last week. It is quite a nice boat. Actually, I don't know if it's still for sale, but it was for sale the end of last year, if you're interested. Come for a bargain price of just $75 million. While everything left of the bridge once was the Charlestown Navy Yard. And this was established in 1800. And in its time, it built over 100 warships. It was closed in 1974, and much of it now, as you can see, are residential units. Now we are approaching part of the Navy Yard that's maintained as a museum. This might be a good time to venture outside if you feel adventurous, so to speak. You get a better view. There are two boats anchored here on the starboard side. One perhaps the most famous ship in America, the USS Constitution. Although you will get a better look at the Constitution when we leave the Navy Yard, because it's obscured by a grey building. So the Constitution was built in Boston in 1797. Which is the oldest commissioned warship afloat in the world. The Constitution fought many battles, perhaps the most famous in the War of 1812. She fought the British warship HMS Guerriere off the coast of Nova Scotia. And the British sailors, on seeing the cannonballs bounce off the Constitution, shouted, "Huzzah! She must be made of iron." And that's how she got a nickname, Old Ironsides. It's not made of iron, but the hull is 22-inch thick, Georgia live oak. This first vessel you'll see is the USS Cassin Young, this grey vessel. It's a Second World War Fletcher-class destroyer. Castle Young, in fact, was the last ship to be hit by a kamikaze pilot in the war in the Pacific in the 1940s. And you'll see the Constitution when we pull away here from the Navy Yard. But we're just stopping here briefly for those who may wish to disembark and go and visit the Constitution Museum and to see the ships. You can actually go on the Castle Young. All of these are free to the public. Now, if you do disembark, we'll be back to pick you up on the hour, every hour, until 5 o'clock. And I suspect this does not include the cruise ship people. It does not, I'm told. The tour guide standing by the door to make sure you don't escape. But for the others who wish to disembark, please go to the lower deck. And we'll be back on the hour, every hour, until 5 o'clock. Now, you don't have time to go off and go and take a picture and come back on. You leave this vessel, the next one is in 1 hour. We see many separated families here. Husbands waving joyfully from the dock.